Recording. All right, I'm Hyson Cisco from Morality in Media, and we're celebrating the 27th annual White Ribbon Against Pornography Week. We're so grateful and excited to be able to host these events featuring amazing organizations and individuals fighting pornography all over the country. I know many of you are holding local events to fight the effects of pornography, and we're so grateful you're joining us for our free online events. Um, Today we have Deanna Lamson, founder of White Ribbon Week. White Ribbon Week is a positive, empowering a week-long school program that teaches kids to make smart choices online and to reject harmful media messages. Every day, kids learn behavior reinforced through discussions and activities. This program is researched and kid-tested. Kids have a blast while learning something. So with Deanna is her wonderful staff, Sarah Weaver and Heather Cohen. Welcome and thank you for joining us. To all our viewers, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please enter them into the chat section and we'll have a Q&A at the end. So take it away, Deanna.
Awesome. Thank you, Hyson. Thanks so much for this opportunity to talk about something that is so important. Just quickly to introduce myself, I'm an elementary school teacher and also a writer and a presenter, and most importantly, I'm a mom. I have 5 boys, 5 big boys and 1 little girl. As a matter of fact, you can kind of see them. There they are. Woo! Okay, well, never mind. I'm going to give up on that, but you can kind of see them. Oh, there they are, right there. So, like many of you, that is my first incentive for wanting to protect children. And I think all of us have had experiences in one way or another where pornography has touched our lives, and we've seen the effects of it up close. We've seen how it destroys individuals and how it really destroys families. And so a number of years ago, I began looking for ways that I could teach this at home and also to teach it at school. I realized that we weren't doing anything in our schools to teach kids or protect them. And yet they are really bombarded with media 24/7. You know, there's a lot of activities that we do in PTA. We have, Earth Day, and we have, teach them about seatbelts, and we teach them about all sorts of things. But what could be more important than teaching them how to stay safe online? So I began to look for information and found that I could find a lot of things about teaching kids not to put personal information online or to help them not become cyber bullies. But there was really very little about teaching them how to reject harmful content on the internet. So I set out to put together a White Ribbon Week, and it was a little bit more difficult than I thought, because if you think about it, when you're presenting in a school setting, it needs to be straightforward and clear, no beating around the bush, but it needs to be age appropriate and positive. It needs to be simple enough for a kindergartner, but it needs to give tools for adolescents that they really need right now. It's a really serious topic, but it needs to be fun. Oh, and one more thing. If you're presenting it at school, you can't mention the word sex or pornography. So there's the challenge. Anyway, with the help of a couple very, very wise and talented women, and with some undeniable help from heaven, we began writing some White Ribbon Week themes. And so as we've done this, it's been about 7 years that we've been working on these, and they have since been published and are available online at whiteribbonweek.org, just so that we can share them with other schools, and hopefully you'll find something valuable and think of a way that you can perhaps bring this to a school in your area. So, Hyson, if you want to pull up the first slide there, we have 3 different themes in White Ribbon Week, and one is called I've Got the Power. I'm not sure if that's, oh, there we go, there it is. Okay, I've got the power, which is I have the power over what I view, what I post, and what I pass along. The second is Let's Get Real, helping kids develop a healthy balance between their digital lives and their real lives. And then the third is Be a Media Detective, which helps a child to be a critical thinker about all the media around them. So as we were working on these, you can come back to me, Hyson. So as I've been working on these programs, a couple of truths have come to me that I think are really important. The first one is that anything that we teach to kids in schools has to be based on principles as opposed to products. If we try to follow whatever the latest app is, or the latest software, or the latest device, we will always be behind the game. But if we can teach them principles that apply no matter what device, no matter what information comes their way, then that's a skill and a tool that they can take with them no matter where they go. The second point is that whatever we teach kids at school needs to be empowering. So often, I think we feel like passive recipients of media and not active participants. That we create media, we share media, and we can either choose to accept it or reject it. And so that's an important skill that regardless of what our theme might be, that's something we need to teach to kids. So let's talk about the first one. If we can see the next slide, I've got the power. So just a quick explanation of how this works in school. The week is really simple. There are 5 power boosts, we like to call them, 1 for each day of the week. And each one is a principle of positive behavior, such as I will not view, post, or pass along embarrassing or negative information anytime, anywhere. Or another power boost is I will tell a trusted adult. If anything, let's go back. Yeah, thank you. I will tell a trusted adult if anything makes me feel uncomfortable or confused. So it doesn't matter if we're talking about Instagram or we're talking about Snapchat or email or even a text message, teaching them these principles helps them stay safe online. So the way the program works is that every morning a PTA volunteer would get on the intercom and they would say, welcome to day 3 of I've Got the Power, and today's power boost is, and they share the power boost. And they explain to everybody why that power boost is going to help keep them safe online. And then they ask the kids to recite the power boost back with them. The reason we do that is because when they get those power boosts or these principles memorized in their mind, then it will come to them at the moment that they need it. When they are presented with a choice, that power boost is going to come to their mind. So, and then also that power boost becomes their password that they use to participate in a lunchtime activity that day. So at lunchtime, after the kids finish their lunch, and they're all finishing at different times, they come to the back of the lunchroom where we have several PTA volunteers, and they recite the power boost for that day. Now, this is the part of this program that I love the absolute most, is that when the kids come back, I can gather them in a little group in front of me, and I hold one hand on this side and another hand on this side, and we talk together. And in the program, we've written some follow-up questions that help you to have a good discussion. For example, I might ask the kids, well, why should I tell an adult? Or, well, what if I saw something that happened a long, long time ago? Or, what if telling someone, talking to an adult, means that I will be telling on a friend? And these are hard questions. These are questions that kids have to deal with every day. And so we have a chance to talk about it. And so after we have this little discussion, then they can go on to a lunchtime activity, whether it's a small treat or it's an activity like bouncing a ball into a garbage can or something like that, something very simple. But the kids are having fun, and at the same time they're learning something so incredibly important that they can use in the future. So let's go on and talk about Let's Get Real. If we can go to the next slide. Now, I should ask, do any of you know a child who is addicted to, oh, here's a cute picture. Okay, I don't know if you're seeing that picture. This is one of the cute kids that I got to have a conversation with, and you can see some of these, and you can show the next slide as well, Hyson. I think you're seeing those slides. Okay, you can see here, this is just gathering at the back of the lunchroom and having a chance to visit with each of these kids. And you know, I don't know of any other program where you really get to talk one-on-one with the kids. That is my absolute favorite thing. Okay, so next slide, let's go to Let's Get Real. Okay, Let's Get Real is helping kids develop a healthy balance between their real lives and their digital lives. So I am guessing that every one of you knows a child who is addicted to video games, or perhaps social media, or texting. Maybe you know adults that are addicted to these things. And even more seriously, you probably know people who are addicted to pornography. So Let's Get Real is the best way to help children recognize what is the difference between what is real and what is not real. So I have to say that I love, love, love technology. I love it. I use it almost every minute of the day. But it cannot be where I get my real interactions with people. You know, there was a study recently where they interviewed kids who play online games. And they asked them what was their most rewarding experience in the last 7 days. And it probably wouldn't surprise you to hear that 31% of them said that the most rewarding experience in their lives that last 7 days occurred online and not with a real person. So helping kids understand that technology is a tool, but it cannot be the source of our joy. A YouTube video or a video game, or especially pornography, should never take the place of sincere affection and real approval from someone that is loving. So children need real laughter, they need real friends, real conversations, and being constantly plugged in is dangerous because it sets them up for to desire more constant stimulation than what the real world has to offer. And so it makes them particularly vulnerable. So Let's Get Real also focuses on 5 statements of behavior. And we can go to the next slide, Hyson. And you'll see here's a picture of just some of the things that we teach. I will swap media time for a real life experience each day. I will always talk to a trusted adult right away about anything that doesn't seem right. I will use technology to show kindness and respect to everyone, and not everything I see online is real. So you can see how valuable these would be, and if we have a chance to talk to each of the kids every day about what these mean, they are learning a ton. I wanted to just share with you, on the first day of Media Detective, we challenged the kids to swap media time for a real-life activity. And Heisa, you can go ahead and show the next few slides. We asked them to send in photos of themselves enjoying a real-life activity. And then those photos we combined together in a slideshow to be shown at the end of the week. And you would be amazed. You have never seen kids be so excited about real life in all their lives as when they see themselves and their friends enjoying real-life activities. This slideshow is an awesome way to highlight the changes that they're making and the way that you have to balance your life between your digital life and your real life. One of the lunchtime activities that we do with Let's Get Real is allowing the kids to make a pennant. And you can see right here some of the kids sharing their pennants where they write down something that they love to do in the real world with real people, real friends, real conversations. And then those banners become part of the decor in the school. We hang them up in the halls, and the kids get to refer to them and look at them all week, as long as your principal will let you hang them up. So now I just have to tell you while you're looking at these, and I think you can come back to me now, Hyson, after that. So I just presented Let's Get Real at a local junior high. And even though these programs are written for elementary schools, they are really for junior high as well. I had to do very little adapting for junior high. So I gave the kids a challenge each night, and when they completed the challenge, they got to put their name in a drawing for gift certificates for real life activities like bowling or archery or rock climbing or museums or bouncing or things like that. So you should have heard all of the moans and screams down the hallway when I suggested that they unplug completely for one day. It was outrageous. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness, no one's going to do this. No one can do this. And yet the next day, the drawing box was full. It was absolutely full of kids who had unplugged. The challenge the next day was for them to go home and talk to their mom and dad about what their media rules are at home. And once again, I went to school, hundreds of slips in there of kids who had talked to their parents. It actually makes me a little misty-eyed thinking that every one of those slips represents a child who has been benefited by learning some of these principles. So, okay, let's move on to Media Detective. And I think we've got a slide here of this, Hyson. There we go. Okay, Media Detective is a pretty fun one. You may not be aware, we know that kids are bombarded 24/7 with media. And the funny thing is that they multitask, so they are not only doing their homework online, they're commenting on Facebook, they've got their earbud in their ear listening to their iTunes, and they're texting at the same time. So they've got multiple things going on at the same time. I read a study that said that in 1 week, American teenagers spent 31 hours watching TV, 17 hours listening to music, 3 hours watching movies, 4 hours reading magazines, and 10 hours online. So if you add that all up, that's about an average of 10 hours and 45 minutes a day where they are actively participating in entertainment media. And that's if they don't multitask. So the crazy thing is that they can even keep their heads on straight with all this media around them. So in a pediatric journal recently, it indicated that children 8 years old and younger are virtually defenseless against online media. So this is a super important topic for us to teach the kids because they have to learn how to evaluate the messages that they see. So one of the important things that we teach in Media Detective is teaching the kids to think. And we can go to the next slide, Hyson. Think, T-H-I-N-K. So let's see, go back one, sorry, we're going to scroll back. You can see that in Media Detective, kids get to earn their mustaches. Here we go. So can you go forward to the bookmark, Hyson? See if you can get back to that little bookmark. Anyway, right there we go. Okay, so Be a Media Detective teaches kids to think. They need to ask these important questions whenever they're faced with a media question, and they can choose, right? So T, is it true? H, how did it get my attention? I, is it good for me? I can choose. N, what are they not telling me? And K, do I know who made the message and why? So you can come back to me now, Hyson. So as kids learn to evaluate these questions, then they earn their detective mustache for the week, which they can wear throughout the week, and it becomes very prestigious. Just trust me on that. The kids love it. But the real important thing is not the mustache or how much fun they're having. It is that these are questions they can ask themselves, whether it is a news broadcast, whether it is an advertisement that shows up on TV, whether it's a movie trailer, whether it's an online offer, whether it's a pop-up ad. It doesn't matter. We're teaching them how to think and make a choice, an active choice about what is good for them. So we'll just scroll through really quick and show you some of these awesome pictures of kids with their mustaches. Now you can scroll through there. You know what? That's okay. Let's go back to tic-tac-toe, Hyson. There's the mustaches. Awesome. Okay, stop right here for just a minute. I want to explain this. This is from my favorite day of Media Detective, which is day 3, and it is the letter I. I can choose. Is this choice good for me? I can choose. I think this is the most valuable thing that we can teach kids. And so one of the things that we teach them is how to evaluate if media is good for them. They can ask themselves, is it healthy for my body or my brain? Is it something that is sucking up all of my time or all of my money? Is it something that is addictive, such as alcohol or tobacco or nasty pictures? And would my mom or dad be happy that I'm watching it? Now, kids are actually really smart, and they can tell if media is not good for them, but then they don't know what to do. So this slide right here, you see tic-tac-toe. We teach them that if they remember tic-tac-toe, they'll always know what to do. T, T, T. And if we can go to the next slide, Hyson. There's the T, T, T. One more slide. Okay. First T, turn it off. Second T, talk to a parent. And third T, turn to something active. This is something so simple, and I can't tell you how memorable and how quickly the kids pick it up and they know what to do. If they turn it off, they're stopping the exposure. If they talk to a parent, the parent can help them sort through the confusion that it causes and open those conversations and also help to resolve what is the issue that allowed that to come to them. And then turning that to something active helps them to move on to something else and not dwell on it or to start to feel guilt and shame about it. So I love this. The kids are easily able to memorize that and to know what to do. Now you know, we've kind of explained in a brief way these programs, and I would like to, of course, This doesn't mean that every child will be protected from ever seeing pornography, but what it does mean is that they have some tools to work with if they do. They're prepared for it, they know what to do, they can be proactive, and they can have the power. I want to introduce you to two amazing women who I love dearly. Both have been involved in the creation of content for White Ribbon Week and also in the actual implementation of it. So I'm going to turn a little bit of time over to Sarah Weaver, and I'll let her introduce herself, and then after that we're going to hear from Heather Cowan, who I say is a White Ribbon Week evangelist because she's so great at promoting White Ribbon Week. So Sarah, take it away.
Great. My name is Sarah Weaver. I have worked with Deanna at our children's school, and I am a full-time reporter for a daily newspaper in Utah, where I covered the impact of pornography on many families. As Deanna and I were talking, we were discussing one important element to getting White Ribbon Week implemented into schools, and one of those is to get the support of the administration. In an elementary school, it's always helpful to have the principal's support, the teacher's support, and the community council and PTA support. I am the chair of the community council at our school and have gotten a lot of feedback on the program that we run in our school. And one of the reasons it's been so successful is because we've worked together to implement all these different aspects and get everyone on board as a team. The last aspect to that is also getting parents on board with what you're doing with White Ribbon Week. And so when we first started White Ribbon Week, I think there was a little bit of fear in our school as to what we were going to teach. And the important thing to ensure the principal and the teachers and the PTA and the whole entire school community is that what you're teaching these kids are skills to deal with media, skills that will help them be better consumers, that will help them be healthy adults, and that will help them make good choices for all of the media that they are bombarded with every day. I think Deanna used this statistic, but the average 8 to 18-year-old in the U.S. spends nearly 8 hours a day using entertainment media. And so what we want to do is help the administration understand that what we really need is for the kids to have skills to be able to sort through that. And if you approach it that way with your principal, you will usually have great success. We assured the principal that we weren't going to talk about religion or morals, but that we were going to help kids understand how to make good choices. The other thing that we do is we have a parent meeting. And we usually do this in the middle of the week. We invite parents to come in. The kids go to, in the last few campaigns, we've had the kids do a cereal breakfast. And part of that cereal breakfast is that we look at the logos and stuff on cereal boxes and talk about what is, we talk about being a media detective. What are they trying to sell me with this cereal? Is this cereal healthy for me? Is everything in this box exactly what it feels like it is when I look at the cover? And then we meet with parents, and we tell the parents exactly what we're teaching the kids. We tell them that we want kids to be able to make good choices when it comes to the things they see. And we want kids to know that they have the power to choose or not choose the media that they are looking at, and that they can look at something and decide whether it's good for them or not. One of the methods that we use to decide whether something is good is if it is something that their parents would feel okay about them watching, and if it works with their own family values. And the other thing that's really important about getting the parents involved is that we ask the kids to tell their parents if they ever see something that's uncomfortable for them. And we need the parents to know that they might come to them. And so by having a parent meeting and sort of explaining why it's important that kids become media detectives or that they become savvy media consumers is very helpful in the long run. You know, we had a experience in our own home where we had taken some of our own daughters to ice cream with several other families in our community. and the kids were at one table, and all the adults were at the other. And at the end of the night, we got in the car, and one of my youngest daughter burst into tears and said that while they were there, the other girls at the table had told them how they can download pornography through downloading music. And I had 3 children at that table that was like 2 feet from me, and yet it was the youngest child who had learned that skill in White Ribbon Week that allowed us to have a very good, constructive family dialogue on what we believe, how we want to use our computers, what media is acceptable for our family. And it's because she had learned skills during White Ribbon Week that allowed her to decide whether something was a good choice for her, and then if she did not know whether it was a good choice, it gave her the skills to know that she could bring her parents or another adult into the conversation. I don't know. Deanna, do you have anything else to add to that?
That's good.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's see, Heather?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, thanks, Deanna and Sarah. I am so glad to promote your program. And I just feel like we live in a day and age where children can't afford not to have these amazing programs. I have instigated it both into 2 different schools, and both times I simply printed out from the website the materials, handed it to my PTO president, and just said, we've got to do this. And I've never had any problems. I think it's because I'm happy to run it. It's the easiest week you'll ever do if you're involved in a PTA or PTO. And if it makes you uncomfortable, grab a friend and you and your friend do it together. So we just did it last week in our local elementary school, and I thought a fun touch on the morning announcements, the little power boost. We had our student council get involved, and that's 5th and 6th grade leaders. And I met with them a month prior and gave them the power boost, and I wanted them to have open dialogue and kind of own those statements. So as they talk about them to the school, they would recognize it. And also during that month, if something that struck them as a 5th and 6th grader, they could have a little more personal bonding and experience with the power boost, because that's really important for lunchtime activities. We also had a great mom come approach me and say, my daughter was playing a little handheld electronic device and handed it to me and said, Mom, I've got to do something real. And she was just really blown away that her daughter is learning something new, that she wants to do some real activities and just, maybe limit for that day a little of her media, which is a great thing. And my background is accounting. I went to college and got an accounting degree, and so in my mind I'm thinking of budgets and things, and what if our school doesn't have enough money for White Ribbon Week? It's always worked out great. We just did our White Ribbon Week, and with like around $210, close to 700 kids, we were able to do some fun little activities and games. And I don't know if you can see right behind me on my window, I have a little Target game for one of the days. It says, be a winner, be kind online. And as the kids would line up to play this game, I'd say, okay, let's repeat what it says on the poster. And the kids would repeat it, and then we could have some follow-up discussions of, hey, you would never shove down your friend, purposely, at recess, and you would never run up to someone and slap them right in the face. But that's how online bullying can feel, and how this is real, and we don't do things online that we wouldn't do in real life, as that's not maybe necessarily being transferred to online activities. So this is just a really, really awesome program. It's easy to do. We're happy to be here as a help and guide and answer any questions you may have. And we're a nonprofit, so we just would love for your schools to be empowered, or your neighborhood, or your scout group, or your family to have these amazing ideas.
Awesome. Hyson, can I have you put the sound back on me right here? Is the sound back on me? Somebody nod their heads if you can hear me.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Hopefully you can hear me. Oh, thank you so much, Heather and Sarah, and I appreciate your real life stories of how this affects your family and your neighborhood, and you know, in my family, the idea of talking to a parent has become so second nature that my kids won't even, we recommend that you do it within 10 minutes. They don't even wait 10 seconds. They will call from another room, they'll call from a friend's house, and they know that they have that support from their parent. One thing that you'll notice as we've talked about this program today is that this is a program that you can, some people say, well, wait a minute, shouldn't we wait till kids are older to teach this? And you'll see that we're teaching this at very young ages. There is nothing in this program that would be inappropriate for a kindergartner, or even younger in your own home, but can easily be shared with a kindergartner and then all the way up through elementary and junior high. There's kind of a frightening statistic that the average age of first pornography exposure used to be age 11 and is now closer to age 9. And that means that half of all first exposures to pornography are happening before age 9. We're talking 6, 7, 8-year-olds. And that's why we need to be courageous enough now to present something and teach them at a young age. But you can see that nothing that we've presented today is scary or frightening or inappropriate. It is just empowering. So I would just ask you, we're about ready to close up here, but thank you for joining with us today. I'm so glad we had a chance to talk about this. And I would just ask you to be courageous enough as someone who loves children to do one thing. And perhaps that one thing would be to call your principal and say, can we please get a White Ribbon Week in our school? Or perhaps it is to go to whiteribbonweek.org and print out one of the free downloads of one of these programs and take it to a PTA president, take it to a mom or a dad, and say this is something you can do that will help. And most of all, I hope that you will take a look at it and teach these things in your own family. Our first strength needs to be in our own families, and then we can reach out and teach these in our schools. So thank you again for joining us today, and happy White Ribbon Week to everybody, and we'll talk another time. Thanks again.
Well, thank you, Deanna and Heather and Sarah. It's so great to have you guys with us. We really appreciate your presentations and everything you're doing. Again, anybody viewing can go to whiteribbonweek.org and get all the information needed to present to their school principals and administrators. So again, thank you everyone for joining us. And doesn't seem like we have any questions. It seems you guys have been very thorough. So thanks again for being with us and presenting, and we'll talk to you all soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.